So I have put together my news wrap up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the articles that I have chosen. Go ahead, let me know which ones do you like the best, which ones stick out, like, comment, share. Teacher shortages have been in the news for a while and they will continue to stay there. With the current climate for teachers, it is running them out and it's making people, namely women, not even want to join the education career path. So let's talk about it. Teacher shortages continue to plague US. 86% of public schools struggle to hire educators. Let's talk about it. Nearly 9 in 10 public school districts struggle to hire teachers heading into the school year, and many potential hires were deterred by low salaries. Y'all better pay them people. The detail is one of many that emerged Tuesday from the National Center for Education Statistics monthly survey of public schools. The federal agency, a data collecting arm of the Education Department, surveyed more than 1,300 K 12 schools in mid August, providing a glimpse into how the 2023-24 school year is shaping up. Shortages were most common in subjects that generally have been difficult to fill for years: special education, science, and foreign languages. While the survey, which only captures sentiment at a sliver of the nation's public schools, shows that overall sentiments about staffing have improved somewhat since last year. High poverty districts continue to report understaffing. For the current year, 45% of all public schools reported feeling understaffed. That's down from 53% in last year's survey. A relatively significant decline came for schools in low poverty neighborhoods. They saw a 10-point drop in perceptions of understaffing from 52% reporting feeling understaffed in last school year to 42% this year. Yet in high poverty neighborhoods, wariness of understaffing persisted at 57%, the same level as last year. Bus drivers are still hard to hire, but vacancies for transportation staff ease. The survey also provides a fresh look at what the school bus driver shortage looks like this academic year. Schools reported that transportation staff were the most difficult non-teaching position to fill. Only 8% of schools called it an easy job to find workers for. The stark issue with the school bus drivers is pretty significant, said Chris Chapman, a statistician for NCES, on a call with reporters on Monday. Another big takeaway from the survey: schools nationwide seem to be leaning more heavily on community nonprofits and local government agencies to provide services like social work and parenting support to students and families. The number of schools using a wraparound service model increased from 45% to 60% of schools, and far fewer schools are offering internet to their students at home compared with a few years ago. 44% are doing so this year compared with 70% in 2021-22 school year. So that is a significant number. So all of this is being put together and showing where we're moving as a society. Understaffing is in so many industries and organizations, and it is not changing. But I think that with the teaching, they are not paying these people enough money, not for what they have to deal with as far as administration, parents, and misbehaviors of students. Why would anyone sign up for poverty wages and extra stress and having to pay for their own school supplies? Make it make sense. You guys go ahead, jump in the comments and let me know what you think about this. Like, comment, share. We are in a tough economy right now. And I've actually talked about states that are trying to loosen child labor laws. Republicans in particular are aiming to weaken child labor laws. We have talked about this. So this article is talking about this company, Monogram Meat Snacks, that is being fined $140,000 for breaking child labor laws. Before I get into that article, I just want to remind us all that these child labor laws are being targeted. You can just look at states trying to ease child labor laws, and different articles are popping up from this year. The Republican Party is literally trying to ease these laws so that it's not that just teenagers need to work, is that they are trying to allow them to work in manufacturing, meat packaging, in unsafe conditions. There are multiple articles on this. They want children, and typically they want children from poverty or low income families to be working these dangerous jobs. It's not just, go work a couple of hours and fold clothes or work at fast food. No, these people are wanting kids to work in manufacturing jobs. Now back to this article. Monogram Meat Snacks was slapped with $140,000 fine after Chandler, Minnesota factory run by the company was found in violation of child labor laws. The manufacturer is a subsidiary of Monogram Food Solutions LLC, which operates 13 factories across 7 states and produces items like Wild Bill's Jerky, Bull Snack Sticks, and Butterball Smoked Turkey Sticks. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, the company had 11 or more children working between the ages of 15 and 17 year old. They had teenagers working in a meat manufacturer. So these teenagers were working in their Minnesota factory. Underage employees were tasked with operating dangerous machinery. During an investigation that began in March 2023, the Labor Department temporarily banned the company from shipping its meat and cheese products from the facility. In July 2023, the Department of Labor fined the company over $30,000 after it was revealed that the facility employed 2 minors, aged 16 and 17. The additional civil penalty, which the company agreed to pay on October 5th, comes following the discovery of 9 more underage workers. In a statement released back in July, a Monogram spokesperson maintained that the 2 teenagers who were initially found working at the factory landed their positions with a fake ID. As the NBC News reported at the time, the company expressed that it was voluntarily taking the steps to prevent the situation from happening in the future and had agreed to hire a third-party consultant to ensure compliance with child labor laws. The Department of Labor is cracking down on child labor violations. Unfortunately, Monogram Meat Snacks violations may be part of a growing trend. Since 2018, the Labor Department has seen a 69% increase in the illegal employment of children. This is the reason why Republicans are just like, let's take away these restrictions so companies can keep on exploiting, families that are living in poverty and who might need to send their 16 and 17-year-old out to work. Offending companies have allowed hundreds of minors to work in hazardous conditions. And so, like I said at the offset, this is not kids just wanting to have a summer job or kids, wanting to fold some clothes. No, they are working in these dangerous positions. I even saw one of these articles that was talking about allowing these kids to serve alcohol. Earlier this year, the Biden administration expressed that it was initiating tougher crackdowns on the exploitation of children, which included the formation of a special task force focused on investigating child labor, as well as increased penalties served to companies that were found in violation of the law. They got these Moms for Liberty. They got these groups that are acting like they want to protect children by banning books. Where are they where they're talking about these child labor laws being broken? If they really want to protect children, let's protect children from actual hazards, not books. In February of this year, a sanitation firm was fined $1.5 million for employing over 100 children between the ages of 13 and 17 to work overnight shifts at cleaning meat processing plants. Like I said, where are the Moms for Liberty? Where are the people that actually talk extensively about books harming kids, where there are kids actually being, used and exploited for labor? So they got these kids working, cleaning meat processing plants. A few months later, 3 McDonald's franchises were fined a total penalty over $212,000 for child labor violations. In September, federal officials announced that they were launching an investigation into 2 of the country's largest poultry producers, Tyson Food and Purdue Farms, following reports that companies employed migrant children as young as 13 in their plants. In reference to the Monogram case, the Department of Labor's Solicitor of Labor, Seema Nanda, said, "This case's resolution makes clear that the Department of Labor will not tolerate companies seeking to profit by illegally employing children." Nanda added that the department will continue to utilize every tool and legal strategy at our disposal to keep young people safe. Yes, let's go after the companies that are truly harming children and putting them in harm's way. You guys go ahead and let me know what you think of this. We've been talking about the economy overall, and this is all going to come to a head. The economy is down, the birth rate is going down. So obviously, home ownership is going to go down. People can't afford it. And if they are not having as many babies, why do they even need a house? So this article is in Fortune. The housing market is about to have its slowest year since the real estate bubble burst in 2008, according to the National Association of Realtors. And this article just came out. So let's talk about it. Decades high mortgage rates, sky high prices, and a lack of inventory have a crushing effect on the housing market, which has now become less affordable than it was during the housing bubble buildup nearly 16 years ago, according to real estate pros and economists. A double whammy of high rates and low inventory is so bad. This year is shaping up to be the worst year for home sales since 2008, the year the housing bubble burst, according to the National Association of Realtor projections. At its current pace, total existing home sales in 2023 are projected to the amount of 4.1 million, according to NAR. That would be the lowest number since the subprime mortgage crisis of 2008, a year that also saw unemployment rates spike to nearly 8%, and millions of Americans' home equity evaporate. By comparison, there were more than 6 million home sales in 2021. So, yes, this is going to be bad. Mortgage rates and rising home prices are largely to blame for the shrinking number. The U.S. housing market has gotten so expensive, in fact, that Andy Walden, vice president of the enterprise research for ICE Mortgage Technology, calculated that U.S. incomes would have to increase a whopping and highly unlikely 55% for it to be considered affordable. People just can't buy. I don't know what folks are thinking, what the powers that be are thinking. I don't know. Those are massive movements that we're talking about. None of them are going to happen in a vacuum. None of those one single factors is going to make the move. So housing prices are going up, the rates are high, and people aren't making enough money. So, I mean, this is obvious. It's going to be a bust, and it's going to happen in the near future. So while 2023 has been the slowest year since the housing crash, home sales have been slowing since last year. Time flies, but it was this time last year when we really started to see the market slow down. Aaron Sykes, chief economist at residential real estate brokerage firm Nest Seekers International, tells Fortune. Sykes says she started noticing the shrinking transaction volume in 2022, but it took more than 6 months for the national data to reflect the slowdown. What's really discouraged buyers from buying and sellers from selling is the continued rise in mortgage rates. The average mortgage rate has more than doubled since the start of last year, adding hundreds of dollars to the monthly cost of a home and slowing the number of sales. Today's housing market is the slowest since 2008 because limited quality inventory and rising interest rates, which price out potential buyers. Armistead Jones, a strategic real estate advisor at the Real Estate Bees, tells Fortune. The gap between what buyers can afford and what sellers are asking is a wide margin. That difference leaves longer days on the market and little to no sales activity. The lock-in effect can also explain the slowing of existing home sales. Normally, existing homeowners looking to move or trade up are responsible for a large portions of homes on the market. Current homeowners who bought when rates were below 3% during the pandemic are reluctant to re-enter the market as mortgage rates are climbing towards 8%. Indeed, more than 90% of existing homeowners are locked into the mortgage rates below 6%. Odetta Cushy, Deputy Chief Economist at Fortune 500 Financial Services, tells First American. These homeowners do not have a financial incentive to sell. The combination of reduced affordability and an even stronger rate lock-in effect suppresses home sales because you can't buy what's not for sale, even if you can afford it. So these people got rates at when it was really good. So why would they sell right now when mortgage rates are so high? Plus, prospective buyers are taking a wait and see approach, hoping that mortgage rates will fall soon. However, many economists and real estate experts project that mortgage rates likely aren't going anywhere for at least the next year. Longer term, higher mortgage rates are likely to be a drag on home sales as costs put buying out of reach, causing many households to delay plans to move. The bigger the gap between the market mortgage rates and the rates homeowners enjoy on their existing mortgages, the more likely it is that homeowners are going to feel locked in place and choose to stay put. That makes complete sense. This just seems completely unsustainable, but you guys go ahead and weigh in with your thoughts and what you have seen and what you project to go to happen going forward. A few days ago, I was tagged in this man's post. His name is Tony Weaver. He was speaking about the fact that Scholastic Books, of the book fairs that we all went to as children, they were actually participating in the book banning situation. And he made this video 5 days ago, and I was just waiting to see what was going to come of it because when he had made this video, Scholastic had not responded. So I kind of waited. And so when I checked the news today, finally a big newspaper had finally picked up the story. So CBS News is now reporting on it. This one is titled Scholastic Book Fairs, a staple at U.S. schools accused of excluding diverse books. Book fairs run by publisher Scholastic are a staple at schools across the U.S., with pop-up sales events allowing students to shop for new titles without leaving school property. But now the company is being accused of creating what some are calling a bigotry button that allows school districts to exclude books from the fairs that touch on race, LGBTQ, and other issues related to diversity. So finally, somebody has picked this story up because it looks like other creators have been talking about this for a month. Okay, some social media users noticed last month that Scholastic had carved out a separate category of books for the book fair events dubbed Share Every Story, Celebrate Every Voice. The collection, which includes books about civil rights icon John Lewis and Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown, among others, allows school to opt out of carrying titles in their book fairs. Scholastic on Friday finally issued a statement saying it took this step because of existing or pending legislation in 30 states that prohibit certain kinds of books from schools, such as titles that focus on LGBTQ issues or racism. Grouping books in this fashion is a way to protect teachers, librarians, and volunteers from legal problems or even from getting fired for providing access to books that violate local laws. So they are participating in the erasure of free speech. So here is the full statement from Scholastic, and I had to try to pull it and make it bigger. They used this font that was so itty bitty little, and you could see the title is much darker than the actual statement. I don't know if they're just trying to get people to gloss over it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to read this. This is a message from Scholastic on U.S. book fairs. There have been a number of misconceptions that we want to clarify about how we have created a path to host Scholastic book fairs, even as schools and educators in the U.S. navigate restrictions imposed on them by state legislation and local policy. The biggest misconception is that Scholastic book fairs is putting all diverse titles into one optional case. This is not true in any school in any location we serve. There is now enacted or pending legislation in more than 30 U.S. states prohibiting certain kinds of books from being in schools, mostly LGBTQAI titles, and books that engage with the presence of racism in our country. Because Scholastic book fairs are invited into schools where books can be purchased by kids on their own, these laws create an almost impossible dilemma: back away from these titles or risk making teachers, librarians, and volunteers vulnerable to being fired, sued, or persecuted. To continue offering these books, as well as even more high interest titles, we created an additional collection called Share Every Story, Celebrate Every Voice for our U.S. elementary school fairs. We cannot make a decision for our school partners around what risk they are willing to take based on state and local laws that apply to their district. So these topics this collection have been part of many planning calls that happen in advance of shipping a fair. We don't pretend this solution is perfect, but the other option would be not to offer these books at all, which is not something we'd consider. There is a wide range of diverse titles throughout every book fair for every age level, and we continue to offer diverse books throughout our middle school fairs, which remain unchanged. All children need to see themselves in stories, and it is extremely unsettling to consider a world in which they don't. Scholastic's commitment remains unshakable. Publish and distribute stories representative of all voices. To this, I say, this is some BS. They are allowing schools to opt out. And basically, they are stripping away the opportunity for kids to use their own money to make choices themselves. This is another layer of how um, history gets sanitized. It's sanitized because voices are sanitized. The Moms for Liberty are the ones that are behind many of these book bans, and they are the ones that are they are creating a whole campaign around getting books banned. And I don't even think that most of the people that are coming for books are even reading the books. It's like they see a diverse character, and that is enough to get these books banned. So these Moms for Liberty have created a whole website that is being used to give talking points to parents or whoever has a vested interest in getting these books banned. In August 2022, a local parent sent Clay County School District in Florida 8 official requests for reconsideration or review of instructional material commonly known as book ban requests. On each form where the district asked what was objectionable about the material, Adam Gilhausen wrote, "See attached paperwork." He then attached book reviews for each title. So this is what they're doing. They have a website that they are using. They're giving the talking points to parents, and the parents just have to fill it out. The parents don't even have to read the books. There is a website that is giving these people these talking points. Okay, these so-called challenges appeared to begin locally with no obvious connection, but they shared a common thread. The book review material submitted by local parents was not written by those parents. Instead, it was taken word for word from a website called booklooks.org. The website launched in 2022 to showcase a book rating system that has also been used by right-wing political activist Moms for Liberty. It bills itself as a resource for parents and claims to be not pushing political action. We do not support banning books. In less than 2 years, BookLooks has become the go-to resource for anyone seeking to ban books, especially books about gay people or sexuality from school and public libraries, according to researchers. Library experts in a USA Today analysis of a book ban attempts nationwide. At least a dozen states USA Today found attempts to remove hundreds of book titles that directly cited BookLook reviews. Now, I'm bringing this up because this sounds very similar to what Scholastic said. They're talking about the book bans. They're talking about, people coming for gay folks and minority people, and they are speaking the same language that Moms for Liberty speak. Just last year, I read this book called No Common Ground by Karen L. Cox. She is a woman that was speaking about how history was rewritten by the Daughters of the Confederacy. The Daughters of the Confederacy were able to create a whole movement for several generations since the Civil War to repackage what the Civil War did. And they were doing it by targeting school kids, the same exact way the Moms for Liberty are targeting school kids, the same exact way that Scholastic has been able to create a button to basically opt in to get diversity. And so this is very important for us because history is being rewritten. But we're able to talk about history right now in living color because we have social media. So if you are a content creator, please talk about this. And if you are not a content creator, just share our post because they are really attempting to silence and whitewash everything. Go ahead, like, comment, share. Tell me what you think. This book by Karen L. Cox about no common ground, because there's no common ground where we're talking. There's no consensus to be found where it's talking about sanitizing history. You're either going to edify and uphold white supremacy, or you're going to give diverse and different authors and narratives an attempt to shine. So go ahead and tell me what you think and check out this book. It's a good one. Like, comment, share.